Welcome. This is the second story we're telling in the Cyberpunk January here at this Mind of Mine. This one is entitled The Interception, and we'll kind of get right into the prologue material here, and also the introductions for characters as we move into it. So, 24 October 2077, Glen Plaza apartment building, The Glen. It had been raining off and on all month. The morning sun was a blur behind dark clouds and the light downpour. Standing on the roof of his apartment building, Hungry kept himself under the cover as he waited for the contact. Like a quarter being tossed into a grimy fountain, the silver ray-field Excalibur Aerodyne zipped across the skyline and came to land couple dozen feet out from the fixer. Door opened, and the hardest-looking solo Hungry had ever seen popped out, rifle in hand, gesturing with the other for Hungry to get on board the AV. Hungry rushed over, catching a bit of rain, then got in to the red leather interior and sat across from the current remaining passenger. A few moments later, the solo was back in the AV, and the doors slid closed with a clean hiss. Inside, it was like Night City didn't exist. Just the sweet smell of lavender, the firm but soft leather seating, the gentle burble of champagne being poured into a flute at Hungry's side, and in front of him, Zigzag, quite possibly one of the best fixers in Night City. People glaze up fixers like Dexter Deshawn, Wakako, Padre, Dino, and the like, but Zigzag was the real deal. Have a drink if you're thirsty, Zigzag said, implying a joke that Hungry didn't catch as he was too busy grabbing the glass and taking a sip. Motherfucker, he thought to himself. That's the real deal. The look on his face must have gave him away, because Zigzag cut in to his moment of enjoyment. I'll send a bottle home with you and get you a case if you can do this job for me. Hungry collected himself, looked down at the bubbly, and then up at Zigzag.
Unlike a lot of my neighbors, I don't work for booze.
Zigzag grinned, and I'm so glad to hear that voice. Made a gesture to his, yeah, it's the best. Made a gesture to his bodyguard, who then leaned forward with a small lacquer box. He opened it, inside a data shard. Hungry picked it up, slotted it. As details popped up in his vision and he saw specs and schematics, Zigzag spoke. Got a job from a close friend. Problem for me is proximity. Rather not get caught up in the mess, so passing the job down to an eager but worthy fixer. Job simple. Arasaka's moving product through Night City. They are headed on to Los Angeles. I have it on extremely good authority that they'll be picking up something at the Arasaka waterfront along the way. The something's what I want. Nothing more than a box filled with data shards, not unlike the one in your neck. Difference is that those chips have people in them. Soul Killer program ripped the people right out of the bodies and digitized them. My client's got questions for a few of the unfortunates, and she'll need an audience with them. Zigzag pulled out a cigarette and lit it with his thumb. As Hungry's eyes flashed, the red lights going dim as he clocked off the data shard. That shard's also a money shard, untraceable. Easy pull of the data and acquisition into your account. Should be about 50 large on there. Yours for the job. Finishing bonus is the same again, but with possible deductions. Shards are compromised in any way, you gain a tail, any mention of me outside of this AV, the typical stuff. But I'm sure you'll perform. You're a professional. Hungry grinned, then took a sip of that delicious ass drink. About fucking time someone who matters noticed. That is the lead up. Hungry, obviously you have some calls to make after your meeting with Zigzag on the roof of your apartment building. And, probably a bit of dusting off of the old office space, because it's been a while since you've done a meet and kind of settle up with anybody since Reggie went missing. And, you've been kind of holding smaller jobs. You haven't been doing anything kind of noteworthy. Probably bodyguard movement, some jobs here and there for the Valentinos, via Padre or what have you. But yeah, obviously, you've come into your space a bit more too. You've got Mac still working the truck. He's doing what he can to make sure that the face of Hungry's business operation is maintained. And then you have Chino, who is still right there for you. Obviously, he didn't join you on the rooftop because Zigzag wouldn't have been too kindly towards that situation. But yeah, you got some calls to make. Who's at the top of the decks for you?
Uh, Probably Gonzo.
All right, Valentino contact. And while you're kind of maneuvering to your personal space inside your apartment, which, by the way, if anybody noticed, this is the Glenn apartment he lives in that I'm kind of sitting in front of. Describe hungry to us, kind of in his situation as he's kind of, getting ready to kind of greet the day.
Uh, he would be sitting at his office desk, very large desk for a very large man. Uh, Fucking lacquer leather chair that makes all those cool old school leather chair noises every time he shifts his giant body around. Hungry himself, dressing pretty flashy, a lot of gaudy extra jewelry all over, multiple diamond chains, or not diamond chains, but chains with the diamond bezel cheeseburger as the head ornament, uh, the biggest of chains. Um, I forget what the name of it is, but probably wearing one of those suits that like changes colors and
Yeah, yeah.
all of
Um,
that stuff.
I think it's a high fashion. I can't remember the name of it though, either. But yeah, I got you.
Giant bald guy. Looks like he's got I don't know, some kind of skin graft work or bone muscle graft work, something like that.
Rings on the fingers, and some for people who haven't seen him in a while, some other alterations that are a little less noticeable. A bit more of a bulge in the back of the neck, and yeah,
Probably smoking a big fucking cigarette or big
big
cigar.
stogie. Love it. So Gino, or sorry, Gonzo. Ugh, my brain. Gonzo on the other side is a new character we're introducing here. He's a member of the Valentinos. Go ahead and describe your character for us, Dan, in short order, and I'll go ahead and throw him up on there.
Well, Gonzo's kind of hardened by the streets. Um, been running with the Valentinos since he was 15, or at least in their circles. He carries himself with a swagger that he kind of learned uh, being raised in that environment or throwing himself into that environment. Um, he tends to be quiet and concise, uh, but he's not like a yuppie stuck up asshole. Um, he's covered in tattoos, uh, obviously. Um, he's kind of made a name for himself in the past 5 years, like kind of among the Valentinos, um, kind of getting recruits, people that kind of follow with some of his ideas. Um, he's got a reputation of not leaving uh, gang members behind or people he considers peers. But he's also, you kind of heard rumors on the street, he's not opposed to, if you're not in the Glen or you're not part of the Tinos, and he knows that, you're doing some, his favorite kind of heist or his favorite kind of scam is to basically rip off people that just rip somebody else off. So what easier loot to steal than loot that you just stole? You've already nabbed it. Who are you gonna tell, right? But he also, he kind of does a little bit of extortion, you know, a
Moves and
bunch of
drugs.
stuff among the Glen.
Yeah.
Yeah, he runs in drugs.
So
Um,
wherever you're taking that call, obviously you're with your crew,
yeah,
and I'm just going to describe them. Their character handouts are inside of the Dramatis Personae. So if you go to that folder, in there should be Gangers and then Valentinos as the subfolders. We're looking at Caesar. First, Caesar goes by Clérigo, Caesar Lopez. He is probably the oldest of the immediate kind of attached crew to Gonzo. He is very much a Catholic individual. He believes a lot in, the faith and also like the good outreach kind of stuff that goes with being like a good Catholic. Now, obviously, I mean, he runs with a gang, so it's like, he's he's a gangbanger, but he has like a sense of morality. He's not going to shoot somebody in the back. He's not going to do things that he's going to consider like wrong that make him feel weird about it. Then you got Emilio Money Sanchez, who is the youngest of the crew. Um, he's new to the crew, but he's definitely money minded and he wants to make money moves. And Gonzo kind of rise up in the Valentinos has been like, he sees that as like, I want to do that. I want to be like that. And it's not so much about the morality or anything for him. It's apparently the right way to do it because Gonzo's showing the foot forward. He's walking the path, and so Emilio sees that and likes that. Then you got Gonzo's number one, like the person who is like right next to Gonzo or is with Gonzo all the time. That's Maria. She goes by Legs, but only because like of an old like kind of stupid joke where she killed a dude by squeezing his neck. She likes Maria. She prefers Maria. She is Gonzo's cousin, and she is probably the best of the gangers that like roll with Gonzo. Like strongest, best, and everybody else in the crew recognizes that and kind of hold to her being like, if Gonzo didn't say it, Maria didn't say it, we're not listening to it. One of those two is Gonzo first, Maria second, fuck it otherwise. Is kind of the hierarchy, if you will. And then last but not least is Miguel. He goes by Perro, which means, and I'm probably pronouncing it wrong about his pronunciation, but in Spanish it means dog. He is very much the Valentino traditionalist. He is very much about sexual encounters being kind of like a boost to your ego and also a boost to your reputation. Valentino started off as a gang that was like, who could get the hottest girls at the bar, and that was literally their whole modus operandi. And he's very much into that. He did serve in the military for a very short time during the Unification War, and when he got back, it was right back to Valentino lifestyle. He one time hit on Maria, didn't go well. He still has a crush on her, but it's no big thing. They got a mutual respect. That's his gang. That's his crew. Phone call comes in to you. Feel free to discuss.
Hey, it's Gonzo.
Hey, how you doing, Gonzo? Got a job coming
Hey.
up for you. Need a crew I can trust on this one.
We got you over here in the Glen.
If you wouldn't
What's this about?
mind. It's pretty simple boost. Smash and grab. We hit a transport, get the package, get out of there.
Alright. What do we boost them?
You're on
Not
the
sure
hotline.
Not sure exactly I know it's data shards, but not quite sure what's on it.
So delicate. Delicate. We'll leave the explosions, maybe, Glenn? So we could break it, right?
What was that?
We could break it. It's delicate material. It's not something like,
If it comes down to it, we can break everything else around it, but I prefer for the shards to stay intact.
I'll have to talk to some people. Who else we need?
I got a couple of guys, couple I know I can trust for sure, coming on board for this one. Getting everybody together down at the office.
Got a set time, a couple hours from now.
Okay. Let me holler at Maria. She'll get the boys in line.
While you're saying that, you're like looking right at her. You gather your crew. Hungry. Finish the call. The Valentinos, Gonzo and his crew are going to be on their way. Who's the next person you call?
Well, Hungry would get up from his as we're talking on the hollow. He would get up from his chair, start pacing around the office. Chino's probably in the background. It sounds like he's making some deals of his own. He's moving up, learning the ropes. Kind of, sort of becoming a minor fixer in his own right. As he'd walk to the entrance of the little garage shack office space, walk outside.
Well, before you
Look,
go inside, before you step outside, Chino would kind of suggest most of this trail you talked about. There's a lot of it that hits the water. Who do we know that's got boats, boss? You know. What about that weird redhead guy?
oh yeah, Hungry would be grinning. He'd say,
Yeah, absolutely. Genny, he's on my list. If he's available, I'd love to get him on board for this one.
Of course he is. I figured that was the case, boss. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I wasn't saying like you didn't know or nothing.
Ah, yeah. You seen Carl sleeping around anywhere out there?
He, kind of opens up the door, steps outside, and sitting next to his tent, right outside the door, it's like, so the door, there's like a dirty mattress, and then there's like a barricade that's kind of put there, which in like a moments of distress could be pulled in front of the door by you, by Chino, by most people who Mac definitely could too. Just to add a little bit of defense. But just across the way from there is a dumpster, and next to the dumpster is an old style like military tent with tarpaulin over the top. All foods boxes kind of hidden underneath the tarpaulin as well on the back side of it, and sitting outside of that is Carl. And yeah, Chody, give us a description of Carl, and I'll throw him up.
Definitely a disheveled person. He has a you can see very few augmentations on it, but whenever he has augmentations on, you see that he has them wrapped in tinfoil. So if he has something on his ear, he actually has a big roll of tinfoil on his ear or anything. And he's just very disheveled beard. You see his eyes are very wide open and scared, and just kind of very looking around, very twitchy.
Yeah, there he is.
Hey, Carl, if you don't mind, step on into my office. I got a gig coming up for you. A good opportunity for you.
What? Yeah, 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 yeah. And then he gets up and kind of walks in behind you and kind of shakes a little bit and twitches, but he walks in.
So, just a heads up, it has been raining all morning, but the way that you're positioned, like your tent and the location, there's an overpass over one side of you, and then there's a lot of building directly like 40 feet above you. So there's no rain coming down on you. There's like, you get that dribble, right? Like in like big architectural city spaces. There's that dribble of water that gets through regardless, but it's not hitting the tent. It's not hitting anywhere near it. You're good. So you're not damp or drenched or anything or rushing through the rain to get to his office. Just want to make sure that's clear.
Yeah, no, he's still very cautious, even though he's worked with Hungry before.
Yeah, yeah.
Probably minor jobs, but he's still very cautious. He'll come to the door and stop and kind of be able to keep an eye on his stuff, maybe by a window or whatever, just kind of keeping an eye on what's going on.
And I don't want to make any assumptions here, Joe, but I'm assuming since he's outside and he's got a pretty decent looking AR, he's probably on quote unquote
Nope,
retainer.
don't see that. Don't see that.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, it hasn't been shown yet, but I'm
Yeah.
saying he's probably on retainer, right? Like, he's probably a guy you pay to just, like, if anybody suspicious comes knocking, fucking shoot him, right?
Oh yeah, that's the kind of vibe I get from him. And I imagine Carl's done quite a few jobs for Hungry, not a lot, but at least a few.
Yeah,
Yep, he's the homeless guy on the corner that yells hooty hoo whenever the stuff's gonna start hitting the fan.
yeah.
Fuck yeah.
So Carl's
I
in.
got it. Come on in and get warmed up. I got Mac bringing lunch in.
Yep. Yeah. Thanks, Hungry. Thanks.
As we're getting situated back in the office, Hungry's moving back to his desk. I'd call up Guinea on the hollow.
Ahoy hoy.
Explain your character and how they look, and a little bit about their environment if you want to as well.
Yeah, we just moved. Guinea is, mostly disheveled looking, a pirate. He's on an age. I think he was 48, 47, somewhere around there.
Middle age.
And he looks every bit of it. Sun damaged, worked his whole life. Hair very dyed red to try to fight, graying out. Posture as if, he has a musculature that his body's not accustomed to, that it shouldn't have. Um, environment, he's currently, on a boat somewhere in the northern shore outside the oil fields.
Yeah, so if we,
I believe it was
I'm gonna snap ping us there and pull up.
there-ish. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can see the Nadruckers have moved their camp. So this is the third location they've been in. First, they started off in Pacifica.
This was a big move.
Then they moved into a spot in the canals next to Buzzard's location. But the cops kept fucking coming around and being a nuisance. So they had a very large move that was in the Patreon side shot.
Everybody wants to move through the canal all of a sudden.
They murdered a shit ton of Maelstromers at that bar there, which is currently underneath the yellow line. I'll go ahead and move this yellow line to the back, I think. Let's see. To the back. There we go. So there's a bar right on the scene there, and the Nadruckers have taken it over. Nadruckers are for those watching at home, they are a nomad family. And they are a part of the Tellus family, I think it is. Hold on, let me double check.
Alice, yeah.
Tellus family, yeah. They're very much waterborne nomads. They don't do the motorcycle. Well, they do have motorcycles. They don't do the car. Okay, they have cars, but they're mostly boat and sea based. But yeah,
We dabble.
We dabble.
We came from Frisco. That's what we call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, ahoy, hello. I'm on the phone.
Hey, Guinea, long time no see. Got a job.
Chairman.
Got a job opportunity coming up for you. It's gonna pay well.
Okay, deal. Tell me where you want to be.
I send you the address. If you wouldn't mind coming down and meeting up with the rest of the crew, I'll go over the whole job with you.
I can be there in 30 minutes, Chairman.
I'm also looking for a few more to fill out the roster here. Heard about the job you pulled down at the port. Wondering if any of those fellas are available from that job.
Oh, there were the two guys that were, they work for TV, hungry. I don't know if you want them. There were some kids, though. I can get you... I'm sure I got the number of the what do you call him? The hacker man. The hacker. Blaze. They call him Blaze.
Yeah, I've heard that name a time or two.
I probably have both their contact information if we were on a job together.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I'll absolutely forward that to him if he's asking for hands. They helped the Nadruckers secure this location.
Okay. So you get the numbers and names, contact info for an individual named Riff, who you recognize as being a rocker boy, kind of up in the Watson scene a bit more, but is a part of a band called Impure Cobra. They actually hit 7th Hell and like in recent history for a short night gig, and you were the one who brought in bodyguards for that gig. So you're familiar with their sound. And it's very much like, like rocker metal, classic style, but kind of brought forward into a little bit more of like an electronica sound. And I can't remember the title of the song that we keep focusing on, but maybe Brent does. No, he has no
idea.
I don't know my own music. I don't write. I don't have composition. I didn't take any ranks in it. I am not the writer for the band. I am the lead. Someone else writes my music.
I got the intelligence for that.
That's one contact, and then the other contact is a individual known as Blaze, who, yeah, you may have heard of. Definitely kind of falls into some of the Netrunner circles that you're familiar with. So you've hung with Lamplighter, I think, before, and you've hung with Asuras. These are kind of your main net runners that you kind of focused on. You heard recently that Asuras actually passed away. Rest in peace, rest in power, a queen. Yeah,
that old lady could chug a monster.
You know that Blaze is like kind of indentured into the cool kids club of netrunners. It's he's young, but he's up and coming. So which one do you want to call first?
We'll call the Netrunner first.
Describe your character and your location.
character, red hair, obviously, got the moniker Blaze for that reason. Longest red hair, got a cyber arm and with my cyber deck built in, cyber eyes, punky attire, kind of my live in a con apt that I've decked out my defenses on and kind of just loner there. But yeah, that's about it for my guy.
So you're probably slamming on the, you got your consoles, you got your six different monitors, you're playing on, whatever you're doing, tracking, what have you, agent pings, phone number you don't know. You kind of quickly hack out who it is. You figure out it's a call from the Glen. It seems to be a encrypted line, which you're kind of like, whoa, cool. But it doesn't tell you who it is. It just tells you it's someone that's in the Glen. You can only ping out the location, not who it is. Do you answer?
Yeah.
All right. Boom.
Hey, looking for Blaze.
Speaking. Who am I speaking?
Hey, this is Hungry down at the Glen. Got a job opportunity coming up, and your name was recommended to me by a guinea from the Nadruckers. Wondering if you're interested in making a little bit of money.
Yeah, I could be in for that. I owe them a little bit of a help from helping me purge an AI. So.
All right. Getting
Tell me when and where.
Getting the crew together this afternoon for a meeting so we can go over the details. I'll send you the Addy.
Sounds good.
Boom. And then to Riff.
Yeah.
All right. Riff, describe your location. And again, as imaginative as you want to go. If you want, because again, Riff is a bit of a. He's been all over. We saw him at he was sitting with his friend in a fucking parking lot to start one fucking mission. He was like, "Oh yeah, I'm just standing here. I'm gonna fucking do this job too, bitch." So just however you want to go, wherever he is a leaf in the wind.
I'd say Riff is probably at his apartment at the moment, but walking out of it. He's got the style is something called Urban Flash, but he has a lot of color on it. And a lot of his he has the Kim hair that can change color and stuff, and most of the time it's in a snake scaly type pattern, to fit the name of the band. And he's his jacket and shirt are also labeled with the band, and if he could get anything else labeled with the band, he's probably going to. So he's probably walking right out, and as he walks out the door, right when he answers, before anybody gets to talk, he looks over to the guy. "You should come listen to my band," and then he's walking.
You got him on the
Hello?
line.
Hey, this is Hungry.
Real quick, this is a fun interaction. So reputation. Do me a favor, Brent. Roll a d10, just straight. Let me know if you got under
3.
a 6. Cool, you did. So you know who Hungry is. You've heard of this fixer. You know he is a kind of big cheese in Haywood, south side of the corporate center plaza. So not your normal running ground, but definitely someone who you've heard of. There are some pretty big name fixers in that area. Padre with the Valentinos connect, and then Hungry is kind of disassociated from that, and also Junior and Wellspring. But Hungry is definitely kind of one of the power players in Watson. Interestingly enough, 2 of the 3 names I just said there are Joe Orbig. Anyways, focusing back up.
Gotcha. Yeah, once he says he's hungry, Riff is like, "Oh, cool. You need me to play a band somewhere? We do have some open spots."
Got a different kind of gig for you. Got your name recommended to me from Guinea. I heard about some work you did down at the port. Here recently.
He just said, "Oh yeah," he was remembering it.
Yeah, looking for a different kind of set of skills. But I'm interested in getting you on board if you're interested in making a little bit of bread.
Oh yeah, you can always use more money for the band.
All right, I'm getting the whole crew together. I'll send you the address. If you can meet the rest of us, we'll go over the details then.
Alrighty, I'll be there.
All right. So your apartment's up in Japantown, right? Or yeah, Japantown.
Yeah, it's up here.
Do me a favor and go ahead and roll me a streetwise check, and then you are in a corpo apartment, so it's not going to take you too long to drop down to Haywood. Guinea, you pick a fucking option. Are you going by sea, by air, or by land?
Hell.
was
Low profile. We'll drive.
What'd you say?
Low profile. We're driving.
Okay, cool. And then fucking Gonzo, you're right down the street. Like,
Man, I'll head down the street.
It's just you and your crew, Mike.
Slap hands with some of my people.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like that kind
I'm
of.
gonna hit a lace.
Oh no! Don't hit the lace before you need to.
Why not?
Because you don't know if you're gonna be in a fight today.
I mean, that's just what I do.
All right.
Black lace.
Yeah. Valentino's hit lace.
Just for a meet and greet.
For a meet and greet.
It's just a regular day.
Ah!
All right, bud.
All right, hit your lace, but your crew's not gonna. They're only gonna hit when they're.
No, I don't. They're fine.
Yeah, they each have one
It's
hit
not about
of black lace, but
peer
they're not
pressure.
they're not gonna throw down on it unless they, are sure where it's game time, right? So, but yeah,
I gotta level out.
fair enough. You walk on over. I would say that based on proximity, Carl's obviously the first one inside. He lives right outside the door. Then it would probably be Gonzo. Next up would probably be Guinea, just based on speed. Blaze, followed by Riff. So basically, they all arrive in that order. And so the location that you're arriving at, I showed it in the starting soon message at the beginning. I think I have it on locations. Hold on a second here. I don't. I will add it as a handout. Bear with me for 1 second. Choose a file. Thank you for being patient. Hungry. Boom. It's loading now. I think it's loading now. It loaded. Hungry spot. All players, they've changed. Thank you. All right, so Hungry's spot is underneath two intersections. If you look at that one bridge, above it is yet another kind of road that goes up over top of that, more towards the right of the map. Hungry's truck is right outside, probably a bit of steam coming out the back end due to him cooking up some burgers for the meat. But if you look at that image, you'll see that there are some like red the streets closed signs and like barbed wire spaces. That building that's right behind the truck in the image, it's like a kind of green teal colored like roof. That building is the office space. The door is over on the right side, the other side, and for you, Chody, your tent is literally like to the right of those two like barbed wire barricades that you can see on the map or on the image.
Nice tent.
Yeah, but it's a very inconspicuous looking building. In fact, it almost looks like it's supposed to be run down. Like it's, totally looks like it's supposed to be in a space that's not sound or savvy. But the second you get to it and knock on the door, and Chino opens it and sees you, identifies you, and lets you in, whoever, you are. If you haven't been here before, inside it's kind of like a bit more professional and serious than the exterior. The exterior is very much like a facade that kind of gives, like a deception, a cloak to what's really going down inside. And if you all muster, give us it one more time, Joe, with like the interior, a description. Again, your desk, your setup.
Yeah, so the outside obviously looks like a pretty like rundown, kind of almost janky old storage building or something like that. Once you step inside, it's like you stepped into a high-rise office building in downtown Corpo land almost. It's very fancy, very almost regal, like a ghetto kind of regal.
Got the leather chairs, got the old wood, like lacquer finish, crisp, clean, tight with the LED lighting. Perfect.
Probably Probably would have mini catering type of deal set up inside, juicy, greasy burgers and
Mac
you
right
know,
there.
yeah, right, Mac right there, ready to serve up a plate for whoever's hungry, and then on the table would be quite a few drinks, liquor, beer, and a generous helping of synth coke just laid out on the table for whoever might partake.
Oh shit, Guinea. Oh
Take
shit,
my
it's Christmas.
kukri out.
Did you hear what he said, Zach?
No, I'm
He
sorry.
said synth coke laid out on the counter, dude.
Oh, I mean,
How many doses?
we're on the job here.
I mean,
I'll stand nearby.
he said coke. He said coke. Anyway,
I take my kukri out,
bam.
kind of dip it in the coke.
Do a line of synth coke. All right. So real quick, since we are doing
Terry,
drugs,
I will do a bump though. If
I
it's
will.
not over, I'll
I mean,
do a
if you're
little.
offering shit.
It's rude.
It's rude not to
Somebody
accept.
offers me a drink, I can only decline if so many times.
If you are taking synth coke for the duration, which will be a total of 4 hours, you have +1 to your reflex for the duration, and it's 4 hours. And then after the 4 hours is up, you'll have to roll a resist drugs and torture DV 15, and if you fail it, you'll start becoming addicted to synth coke.
Oh no.
But yeah, obviously that won't matter during the meet. You're just gonna be hyped.
I'm already there. I brought my own. You just saved me $20.
For sure.
I rolled a 17 on that streetwise check, by the way.
Oh yeah, so
I didn't know what it was for, but
So thank you. It is for how
I think it was to
quickly
get
you
here.
arrive. So basically, Hungry is not going to regard you as being late because you rolled well. So had you rolled poorly, it would have been like you took long ass time due to public transportation and maneuvering yourself from your apartment down to the Glen. You are smart enough, you are savvy enough about the streets. You know how to hit the lines. You know how to get on the end cart. You know where to go, how to hit it correctly, and get to where you want to be. When he said the destination, like your brain was like it mapped out the route in your head. You're like, all right, I know what line I need to take. I know what street I need to hit. Perfect. So boom, he's there as well, and everybody's there. Max passing out the burgers. Looks like we got a desk and a situation, and I'll just leave it to you. Feel free to interact.
If he passes out a burger, Carl would take off the bun and everything, take the patty, put it in tinfoil and start kicking it on the ground, and then pick it up, and you would probably see Hunger and be like, "I'm sorry, man. Old habits die hard. My bad." And he'll just take it off and start picking the meat.
And I'm assuming it's not just like a picking the meat. It's kind of like a pick and expect kind of the meat.
Yeah, 100%.
Because
Yeah.
the mentality I think is like Militech puts nanotechs and shit, and you're like, I don't want to get bugged.
I gotta check and make sure nothing's in it.
For sure.
That's why he said, "Sorry, Hungry. Old habits," because he feels like he can trust him, but also he's like, "This is what I do every time I."
Right, and they get their meat from all foods, so it's not like they're making it themselves or anything. So whether or not Hungry thinks that's a faux pas etiquette wise.
Nah, I mean, I'm sure I've seen Carl be a paranoid
yeah,
schizo. He just smile and nod. It's all good.
You don't keep him on your porch without feeding him once before.
For sure.
How do you get him to come back?
Yeah, you keep feeding him. That's how you get cat.
Now he'll never leave.
No, he'll never leave. You fed him, it's over. That's it. That's your cat now. I mean, you're a unhomed person.
My murder hobo.
Murder homo. Correct. Oh shit, that's what you built. Fuck.
It's when he was a Scottish fold.
You are correct.
Oh man, if a Scottish fold showed up on my doorstep, I'd take it in. I already have 3 cats. I don't care. Those cats are cute as fuck. Anyways, focus on you guys. It's you.
I imagine once everybody gets situated, comfortable, had their helpings of whatever it is that you want, some type of projector and a screen pop up, or a hollow screen, and I'm not really sure.
Either way.
But it would depict a route going through the city, a picture of these Militech behemoths with all their upgrades, all their mods on them. Like little we've all played games where there's like a pre-mission like loadout type of thing going on. That's what's happening on the screen. And then he'd go on to explain.
Got a transport I'm looking to boost some data shards from, carrying some sensitive information. I don't know exactly what's on the shards, but got a buyer that wants them. Job's gonna pay 7,500 eddies to each head, with the potential for bonuses if we can pull this off without a hitch.
Good money.
Expecting heavy security presence to transport. Likely armed guards with rifles. Potentially hired on mercenaries from the outside. Although I'm working on an angle to make sure they don't get any extra backup outside of what they have in the caravan. We need to find some place along this route here, hit them, boost the shards, and get out of there before anybody knows what happened.
And obviously on the route we can see, I think it's from north to south.
Yeah,
with
so
the
it's gonna
yellow.
go. It's gonna go down the 101, but kind of break off the 101 into industrial to get to the waterfront. So let's discuss the path a bit, okay? So we understand it. So
Yeah.
the 101 actually goes through Night City, but you can see here there's a diversion. Oh, whoops. You can see here there's a diversion, and the 101 actually continues on and connects out towards North Oak, and then heads on the outside of the city, and then would reconnect with the route there. So what's happening is the Arasaka, once they hit the industrial side of Watson, which is the north side, they're going to break off, and they're going to continue on to the waterfront, which is the Arasaka military waterfront. Once there, they're going to pick up the shards. So they will not have the shards prior to that point. Okay? They'll move into the waterfront, acquire the shards, and then move out of the waterfront, moving along the western side of Watson, Chinatown. And then they will cross the canal, the Bay Canal, into downtown. They'll continue down through downtown until they get to a point where the route is not predetermined. And whether or not they split one way or the other has not been decided yet, and you do not know for sure which way they're going to go. There could be ways for you to track that, but you do not have the means to know for sure. Because the information you've been given, the information you have current, it could go either way. So
The branch wouldn't happen until after they pick up, though.
Correct. It's going to happen down here. This is the branch location.
That's where the green line meets?
Yeah, it's going to happen in Watson. So if they continue down the 96.
I thought Watson was north.
Or sorry, not Watson. Wellspring.
That's Haywood, isn't it?
Wellspring. Yeah, the western side of Haywood is Wellspring. You're right. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
Might have had alcohol.
I just looked at the map for
fair.
Joseph's sake. He didn't know where he lived. Go
If
ahead.
they fare down the same 96, they're going to cross over the canal. They're going to avoid Pacifica. They're going to route past Dogtown, which is the combat zone near the stadium. They're just going to stay clear of it, keeping in between Dogtown and Santo Domingo, which is kind of this urban area here. And then they're going to get back on the 101, and then they're going to floor it down to the border. Okay? And basically, once they've hit border, they're free. So if you haven't hit them before they got into the border patrol, you're going to be boned. The reason why that's the case is the border, as we are all very well aware, hopefully, is manned by NUSA and Militech and Night City or Night Corp Special Ops. And basically anybody who tries to run that border or commits to any kind of larcenous activity or anything untoward, they just fucking body them. It's turrets out, tanks out, rockets out, shooting, death, destruction.
And that's way down here, right?
That is the border. That is literally the end point. If you've ever played the video game and tried to run that border, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Guns are out, shooting, death, destruction.
What's this right here?
That is the Biotechnica Flats. So Biotechnica grows most of the edible material that is consumed by Night City, and basically it's just a bunch of greenhouses.
Bunch of greenhouses. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. And they'll come up in another story, but that's more for a Friday thing. I know the person who matters for that is watching. She's always watching. Damn it. I can't make fucking references. Anyways, so the green side, if they go the green route, basically that's going to move them out of Wellspring into the, I think it's the 108, and that's going to pull them underneath the water.
It goes in the tunnel.
Yeah, it's an underwater. It's like a channel, effectively. Yeah, and that will lead them to the other side. They'll move through Pacifica momentarily. They will then move underneath Dogtown. So let's examine a couple of images I have here for you. So regarding the heist, bear with me here. This is under miscellaneous, the interception. So we're going to backtrack. Let's do it in turn, okay? So we have all the information. This section here, okay? And I don't know.
He's nitpicking?
There. This section here is indeterminate because the industrial divide to the waterfront is a clusterfuck of roads. There are roads that run at higher altitudes. There are roads that run under the ground. There are roads that run into buildings. It's a mess, right? It's very much the industrial / waterfront divide. This image kind of gives you a better look at what we're talking about when I say that. So when it kind of comes underneath these main thoroughfares, it could be the case that because of construction, they go all the way around and then into the waterfront, or they could take the dotted line, like the larger dotted line, and go kind of across. If they exit out, they could take the narrower dotted line out and around and down. So we're basically looking at a series of variables that could be contingent on construction and what's actually happening in that area on the day, right?
But they won't have the chips at that time.
No, they will acquire the chips only when they make it to the waterfront. So again, you're probably asking, well, why do we give a fuck about anything that happens prior to the waterfront? Smash and grab, once they have the chips, is an option. You can totally do it that way. Or you can acquire the truck prior to them coming into the city, take control of it, replace their operatives with your operatives, and then go pick up the chips. It's entirely up to what you want to do. Again, freedom is your game. But again, this is just to show you how they might move through the industrial, how it might be different than what's on the map, right? Once they've acquired the chips and they head southbound, we've looked at the waterfront to downtown route. Now, keep in mind, the exclamation point that's on there, ignore it. That is literally just the game telling me that Hanako wants to meet at Embers. Ignore that. That is not an important notification. But the white...
He always wants to meet there, though.
It's the end game.
It's her favorite place.
It's the end game. It's always the case. So it's going to go southbound through downtown, out and around between Dogtown and the Santo Domingo, and then onto the 101 and out. So that's the route. Okay, very clean, very sharp, very easy for you to kind of depict. Downtown might be a harder kind of run of it, just due to the uptick of security presence there. Wellspring, you have control of. It's definitely Valentino location. Santo Domingo might be a little harder. Keeping in mind, too, like these locations have gangs that are associated with them, and if they're around, objectively, if they see a big thing happening in their territory, they might kind of take a peek, you know what I mean? They might pop in and check out what's going down, and it might be necessary inclusion for things you don't want. So if we were to go through the divide, if they do go through Wellspring to Pacifica, the main thing to look at here is that this is a completely underwater location. The divide is completely tunnel-like, but in the tunnel there's a regulator system, which you can see on this map here, that allows for airflow to move through the tunnel without issue, and allows people to kind of drive through this space without it filling with smog and killing everybody. What's interesting and fun about this location is there are actual like windows on the ceiling. So when you're driving through, you can look up and see the bay, the Morro Bay above you. Very exciting, very fun, but again, could lead to possible options for you as well. Again, there's no perfect method. There's only the method that you crazy bastards imagine in your head.
I assume we don't want to flood a major thoroughfare.
Live your life. Do what you want.
I'm just throwing that
You
one
do
out
what
there
you-
before we start examining options.
You do what you want.
My assumption is we don't want to flood a major thoroughfare.
If they
You
go,
quit making your assumptions.
All right.
if they go with this route, the next point of opportunity is when they go underneath Dogtown. So you'll see that on the left side of this map specifically, the green line moves through kind of like an area. That area is known as Pacifica, right? Once it gets to the more congested location, you can actually see the readout showing kind of like a mountainous kind of area there. And I'd say like right when that green line hits those mountainous kind of terrains is when they hit the tunnel and enter into it, and then they go out and underneath it on the other side. And that will put them kind of in the Biotechnica flats, which will then lead them to, because all those red squares on this map here are the Biotechnica flats. To kind of give you an idea of where this is actually happening, it's right about there. Does that make sense? Do you see the transfer?
Yeah.
Okay. And so that's another underground tunnel. For you to be able to access the tunnel, you'd either have to drive in and then deploy, or if you were able to get in well with Barghest, which is the gang that leads the combat zone known as Dogtown, you could potentially gain access through subterranean means in and around the south side of Dogtown. Which I believe is their museum, or it's like the Natural Life Museum. It's not that anymore. It's very much just like a gang hideout. But yeah, it was once attempted to be. Pacifica, real quick, history lesson. Pacifica was a bunch of corporations trying to make like a utopia, make like a rich people's paradise. And it failed because of the Unification War. The NUSA came and attacked Night City. Arasaka was called in to fight. Big war happened on the South Plains. The border was established. So, Dogtown is filled with old NUSA and Militech operatives who have become gang members for Barcast. But yeah, that is that. Any questions on anything I've displayed there? Like precision-wise, not in character. I'm going to drop it back to in character once those precision questions are answered.
There was a time of day, it was like very early morning, they were arriving in the city.
Correct. So they should arrive, like if all things happen according to their time schedule, they should arrive at the Arasaka waterfront location at 9 a.m. So they'll probably arrive on this
And that's
map.
just north of the fork between green and yellow
Yeah.
paths, right?
Yeah. They'll just arrive on this map probably around 7 a.m.
Okay.
So it's going to take them about 2 hours movement-wise to get off of the 101 and into the Arasaka location. So I guess, no, it's probably closer to 8 a.m. It's going to take them about an hour to get from point A
What's
to point
the
B.
full escort again? What all is in the escort?
Great question. So we'll go ahead and list that as well. Scrolling up. If anybody has it on deck, you can go ahead and cite it. So
I do not.
it'll start off for the first leg of the trip just being the Behemoth, which I will post again. This is the Arasaka Transport. A Militech Behemoth is a type of vehicle. Like basically, Militech is the make and the type is Behemoth. It is a big-ass transport truck that's usually used for transporting personnel, but has been modified and can be modified to transport important materials. So while they're on the 101, it's just going to be that vehicle by itself with they will not have an escort at that point. Once they've hit the Arasaka waterfront, they'll be joined by an escort. So the vehicle itself has 4 operators in the back. Let me double check.
These are approximations, what we should expect, or
No. These are guaranteed.
these are guaranteed.
The Militech Behemoth Arasaka security modification: up armored, anti-hack, auto inflate, and anti-pierce tires. Inside, you'll have a single squad of Arasaka operators, which is 6 individuals, armed with HJSH 18 Masamune rifles, which are high-powered assault rifles, and JKE X2 Kenshin sidearms, which are tech pistols. The driver and the passenger up front are presumed to also be security operators. One of the 6 is usually armed with mantis blades. Presume that all have combat cyberware of some kind installed, and more than likely one or more will have katanas. They're Arasaka. So they'll have close combat weapons. For those who aren't familiar with mantis blades, they're blades that pop out of the forearm and kind of auto attack. They're very deadly, crazy stuff. Once they
Anti-hack.
yes,
I'm assuming exactly what it sounds like. There's no chance
sure, it's not
for this Blaze fella to
to
make our job easier.
to hack the vehicle. It will be near impossible, but not impossible. So what anti-hack vehicle installations mean is that it'll have ICE programs that will basically drop quick hacks, vehicle-related quick hacks, immediately upon attempt, and it'll require them to reload, which could take a minute. So if you have multiple netrunners working it, maybe. If you have one netrunner who's very persistent, maybe. But the chances of you hacking the vehicle and being able to drive it off where you want it, highly unlikely.
Not drive it off, just stop it. But I understand.
Highly unlikely.
Okay.
Not impossible, though. It just would take a lot
Sure.
of very, very skilled rolls from a hacker. That said, once they've made it to the Arasaka waterfront, expect them to be joined by a couple of things. First off, before they make it there, expect coastal assistance on standby. If they're able to get a call out for SOS, the Arasaka waterfront will probably deploy boats that will attempt to assist from the sea. This could mean anything from rocket pods to autocannons striking you from the waterfront. But once they've made it to there, their escort will be joined by 2 Chevelon Emperor 620 Ragnars, which are the big, meaty trucks with up armor and the like. And they have 4 operators inside. That's driver, passenger, 2 in the back, with 2 drones in the back side. And those are combat drones that will deploy upon request of the interior people. They could potentially be joined by 224 Yaiba Kusanagi CT3X motorcycles, which are going to have Arasaka Ninja Spec Ops on them. So when I say an Arasaka Ninja, most street runners will know that to mean like a completely borged out sociopath of a murderer that Arasaka has built for the purpose of doing just that. They could also potentially be joined by Tiger Claws. Tiger Claws are funded by Arasaka. So if they want like passage through the city and they want to kind of have like a gang presence, they may bring Tiger Claws into it as well, as long as they're hired on and there's nothing stopping them from joining the gig. That is the convoy. That is the defense detachment, as you asked, Dan.
So not a lot.
Yeah. I mean, they don't have AV. There's no AV assistance. Doesn't sound like they have any air, so that's good.
Other than drones, but that doesn't really count.
Yeah, drones don't really count. They're mostly low ground, yeah.
They're pathetic.
I will rip them in half with my bare hands. I've done it before.
So I know we're getting into like this is the planning phase. We're about to get into the in character portion of it. Just off the cuff, does anybody else have and are able to drive a vehicle?
Yeah.
I can drive, but
Most
I don't
of us
have a
are.
vehicle.
So
I have a
Carl,
very
I'm only
tiny
allowed one at a time. Sorry.
Carl Storms has a road bike. Blaze has a city car. Gonzo does not have a vehicle, but could definitely drive one if given the opportunity. And he has a crew who could man it in other ways, operationally. Riff takes public transportation, and Hungry has a food truck.
Okay. That's way more than I expected.
Yeah.
That's way more than I expected. Okay.
Okay, so in character, if you want to field questions to Hungry, to the crew, what have you, feel free. If there's still out of character questions you have for me, feel free to ask them. And if you want to discuss things out of character amongst yourselves and then come up with a way to discuss it in character, that's fine too.
It's hard to decide which.
I will say, if you care about what the audience says, it does sound like the tunnel is currently leading, with Elizabeth saying that the tunnel, blowing it out and filling it with water, or maybe that's not what she means. She just says, "Oh, that tunnel sounds sick." Whatever.
Guys, Pacifica. That's what I'm thinking.
The Pacifica Tunnel?
Yeah.
Not the underwater tunnel, but the underground tunnel.
No. Retrieval will be a bitch. And then once you start involving Arasaka and a water excursion, I know you got a pirate boat, but retrieving it from a collapsed tunnel sounds like a bitch. I mean, you could. What I'm thinking is that we don't know where the truck will be leading. Like, if it'll be leading, most likely it'll be in the middle of the caravan. But we could be able to cut off half of them, maybe in an explosion, cave in a tunnel, and reduce how many they would have. Also, the further you get away from Arasaka, the better.
I agree with that. I don't like them having naval support.
Yeah.
So I personally would rather it not be in the northern third of the journey. While that sounds like they're under the least amount of like immediate protection, that sounds like the most dangerous protection.
I also don't see this ragtag group of gangbangers, schizophrenics, and pirates, and a high-profile rocker boy. Maybe the Netrunner, but the rest of us...
Real quick, hold on. Stop for a second. I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Riff is not high profile, so I want to make sure...
Well...
I want to make sure we understand.
He can't,
There-
look like
he
Arasaka
is the jukebox
personnel.
hero, though.
There has only been one character in the entirety of the campaign who has been like, I know who you are, and that was Blaze, and Blaze likes good music, so that's the only time that like it's actually come up. Okay, so Impure
here's the
Cobra,
thing.
it's got some beats, it's got some sound.
He's not going to be subtle, is all I'm saying.
For
There's
sure.
no subtlety, so that
We can
blows
play that as
up.
a strength.
Yeah.
We're gonna play to our
He
strength.
could definitely-
We've got someone who needs attention and someone who needs medical attention. That would make an excellent distraction. Looking at Carl.
So I don't see us doing the first more subtlety.
Does anybody want it to happen in the northernmost leg of their trip? I feel like Dan and I are both strongly opposed to that portion.
I mean,
of
I'm open to all ideas.
Okay,
Well, I just want to make sure too
I'm opposed.
that you understand. Like, if you take them prior to them acquiring the shards, you
That
could-
we have to play face and
it's a more
pick
of a,
up the shards.
It's more of a face game than it would be like a non-face game. So
We also have to make sure they don't get an SOS out,
yeah.
which
What
seems...
do we know
Cat! Cat!
It's cat time, guys. I'm sorry. It's cat time. I know Joe's probably like brains. The wheels are spinning. So
What do we know about them being able to get the message when they're in the tunnel?
it's up
Are
to
there
you.
any reception issues?
I mean, reception issues would be more prominent in a tunnel for sure, but they're not impossible. Signal,
Yeah, I just didn't know since it's the future. Like,
yeah.
If it
Sig-
was like, this isn't a problem now, or
signal relays are typically present inside of tunnels. They can be hacked
but
and
if
dropped.
we take out, yeah, I was gonna say if we take out the relays, that means they can't call for help.
I wouldn't suggest doing it in a physical way, or like prior to the setup, because if you do, that wouldn't call just Arasaka problems. That would cause, citywide problems, and you'd get more than a reception than just Arasaka. You get NCPD, and yeah. NCPD it's kind of a mixed bag. It could be just like a single patrol cruiser that comes out with like a couple of cops in it, but the second you start fucking with them, it's slowly going to kind of snowball. It's going to escalate. It's going to be a problem. And if you go too hype with that shit, Cyber Psycho time. Backstack, let's roll.
What do we know about Bargeist?
Bargains. Sure. So they are a gang, technically, is what they would be referred to as. They are currently led by, hold on a second here, Chester Bennett. Chester Bennett is a old military man, lieutenant colonel in the NUSA before being kind of left stranded in the Dogtown in the combat zone. That's a picture of Bennett. He's more chrome and muscle than brains. He's very much a power-oriented individual. It's Hungary would be able to kind of decipher that he killed his competition after the person who preceded him in his position died horribly to very interesting situation involving a netrunner named Songbird. Kurt Hansen was the creator and the leader of Barghest before his demise. But yeah, Bennett is clearly an individual who is power oriented, and I would like for Hungry and Blaze to go ahead and make. Let me see what the role would be. Bear with. Education. Or no, local. Go ahead and make Hungry and Blaze. I want you to go ahead and make local Night City rolls.
What's that under?
Education. It'll be under local expert, and then you should have local expert Night City.
It should be
It
the
says
bottom
your
most
home on mine.
Yeah, yours should be Night
Yeah,
City from here.
Okay.
You're fine. Use it.
Okay. And then one from you, Hungry.
Yeah, how do I do this? It's been a while.
No worries.
I'm looking at the local expert Night City. I just don't know how to
Yeah.
make the die roll.
You should be
Make
able to
sure
click
you
the
don't
big
have
red
edit.
button if you're
Yeah,
not on
edit
edit.
highlighted.
No.
Sure.
Yeah, if it should be just it should say local expert Night City, and it's like in a red square. If you click the red square, it'll drop it. Like it's in the little grid there. I love you. You can do it. I believe in you.
I got it.
Perfect. Okay, so the DV was 13, so the two of you will know. It's come out that Bennett is closely tied to Arasaka. He kind of made a power grab for his position, and his competition, Jago, was kind of trying to bolster his position with assistance from like all sorts of different hands, voodoo boys, any power structure near or around the area. But Bennett tied himself with Arasaka and came out on top, killed Yago at Kurt Hansen's funeral. And it was mainly due to the insistence of the drug cartel from Central America that Bennett be in charge. So you know that drugs flow into Night City from Central America through Dogtown. And Hansen is connected to Arasaka. And that's what's allowed for that to continue.
Yeah,
I mean, fuck. Gonzo really wouldn't want to involve Valentinos because that would put them at risk. But if we hit them somewhere like on our territory,
In Haywood.
then we would need to lose them. Yeah. I mean,
It would be in the tunnel, probably. The Bay Tunnel.
it'd be before we'd get to the tunnel.
Could be in the Bay Tunnel too, though. The Bay Tunnel is
Could it?
not technically territory for either gang because nobody's holding ground inside of a fucking tunnel. So it's kind of like this neutral
Wasted
ground.
opportunity, really. You should talk to your bosses.
Again, there's not much in the way of like possibilities down there, but
Right.
if you set up down there and like take it there, like you're not gonna have problems from the Voodoo Boys. First off, because it's not their territory, and second off, the Voodoo Boys are kind of in a weakened state right now. During the summer, they got fucked up like a lot. Like it was nonstop, just bad shit for them. Their boss died, like their leader. And then their like second in charge died as well. Then there was this situation in Dogtown, where like their Dogtown excursion got completely murdered by the same vigilante, some people say. And then there was a situation where they were kind of fighting and conflicting with the Nadruckers before the Nadruckers broke off. But technically, the Voodoo Boys won that engagement, but they didn't win anything. It was more or less.
Yeah,
like,
I'm really sorry to hear. We'll send them a gift basket or something.
Yeah. More like the Nadruckers kind of just like beat the shit out of them, and we're like, I don't want to fight anymore. And we have this cooler location, the Pirate Way.
Oh man, we framed them for murder.
Yeah, also that there was also a guy who stole a gyrocopter, and
it was your fault in the end.
What are you talking about? I didn't do anything.
It was Reggie.
It's a different
That
character.
bastard.
When you nuked that building, I got blamed, and then I passed the blame on to the Voodoo Boys.
To some Voodoo Boy. It's just hilarious.
Yeah.
So it sounds like we got a couple of votes out of character for like somewhere in Haywood. Is that a fair assessment?
I'm just thinking of all options, right?
Yeah,
Because
'cause-
it sounds like Vargas would
pros
really
and cons.
be helpful.
So
And if we
Gonzo's
were
kind
to
of
do shit,
putting forward the idea that if we do it in Haywood, if we do it on that stretch in Haywood, we're not going to have gang problems because we're going to just tell the Valentinos to fuck off. This is happening, right? But if you do it anywhere else, it could be the situation where, like, if you're doing it in downtown, probably not too much gang activity, but NCPD will fuck with you in downtown, right? If you do it in Watson, you're going to get Tiger Claws, you're going to get Maelstrom, or whatever leftovers they have of Maelstrom. You're going to get some problems there.
Fuck them up too.
If you do it in between Dogtown and Santo Domingo, if they go that route, 6th Street Gang, fuck those assholes, bunch of racists. And if you do it in Pacifico, Voodoo Boys aren't huge, but they might be a problem. So there's that. Barghest in Dogtown. You've got a lot of these other gangs that could potentially be a problem. I get you. Now, Zach, you were saying you don't want to do it in that first, like, half of the fucking situation. So let me make sure we got it. Like, the second they cross this canal here, right? I'm gonna snap ping you. The second they cross that and they get into downtown, that's where it's game for you. Because like if they are that close to the Arasaka water,
Ping where they'll be when they're actually collecting the item we're after.
perfect. No need to. It's gonna be right here at this joint.
Okay, that's what I thought.
And I'm actually
So
gonna go ahead and put a marker there so we have it. Hold
Okay.
on. If it'll let me, I will do it.
you're fine. So if we wanted to do it at all before that, we're inviting the problem of convincing them that we are meant to be in this truck that is potentially very banged up because there's not an easy way to stop such a truck without incredible force. We've got, I don't know how many people could pass off as Arasaka security men. Some could, I'm sure.
I'm gonna be honest. Looking at your crew, the only person who can pull it
Not
off
many.
is Blaze.
Riff?
Blaze is the only person who could pull
Blaze?
it off.
Okay.
And that would be one person. Not gonna work.
So yeah, the whole like playing face with the crew that we're running with doesn't sound promising. Convincing them that we're supposed to be here doesn't sound like the checkmate.
I can't give inspiration. It's not a thing, but I would give.
It's fine.
It's not a thing in Cyberpunk. I'm sorry.
Oh, bummer.
Give me $10. Give me 10 eddies.
I'll give you 10 eddies. You get 10 eddies.
I'll make it work. Yeah, I strongly oppose anything north of that point.
we can all agree on that.
Yeah, they have to have it before we do anything. So
And then also, again, to put the point a little bit more succinctly, Zach, also, like, before they make it to downtown, like, because if you hit them in Chinatown, the waterfront's going to be able to send whatever it has quick.
I would extend it to that as being a hot zone, but I'm still open to hearing pros and cons. I don't give a shit about anything north of that point. I'll listen to you south of it.
Got it.
like south of here.
South of the point. South of where they
South
start.
of
Well, like-
Arasaka's port.
but
South
also,
of
like-
here, better.
Yeah, I was like,
but
south of there is
I'll
that
hear you out in general.
If you want to talk about Chinatown, if you want to talk about out in front of Kompeki, then fine, we can hear it. But yeah, it's definitely the best situation would be once they've made it to downtown and beyond.
So their security convoy.
Hmm.
At what point was it the strongest? Was it immediately after they pick up?
It's immediately after they pick up, and that convoy is going to include at least 2 Chevillon armored SUVs. The SUVs will have 4 operators in them, so we're upping the number of operators from 8 in the truck to 16. And then 2 drones per Chevillon inside
So
of the truck.
20. Call it 20.
The drones, depending on what drones they have, it could be a situation where they have a marker drone and a gun drone. The drones that shoot are bigger. The marker drones are more for kind of like accentuating their smart guns and kind of targeting stuff so that they can use their homing weapons to shoot you around corners.
Okay. And that security detail is expected to follow them all the way to the border, or no?
Outside of the city. So once they hit 101 again, the detail will fall off.
Do you have any experience with hacking those sorts of things, Blaze? Not the actual munition drone, but the smart drone. What if we turn those drones against them?
I'll shoot them with their own homing missiles.
Right.
Be
I'm
dope.
like, I think I can. Hold on. I have something for that.
Because the thing is like we can obviously hit them in so many different locations, but what are the pros and the cons of doing it? I mean, if we hit them in a tunnel, we got the obvious advantage of the territory that we can manipulate.
They're not likely to get back up in a tunnel.
You want to know a fun fact?
Right.
So I didn't design or like plan any like locations for the hit until you guys decided where you want to do it. And like once you do that, the work's cut in for me. I have to go into the Cyberpunk map, find the location that you designated, give you all the specs and details on it, and then hand those over to you for the next session. So you can be like more nuanced detail and plan.
We're gonna show up with so many questions about
Oh
it, too.
yeah, I hope so.
How high is the ceiling?
Yep.
How
These are-
strong is the glass in the
I didn't-
ceiling?
This
I
is
didn't take
peak
the ones that would
Cyberpunk
allow
room.
me to like control them,
Drones?
but I can. Yeah, like there were certain like.
Do you have the
hacks to
electric
be able
one?
to-
Overshock
I can-
or
I can disable them, but I can't control them.
yeah.
That's still
Not
really
nothing.
good.
That's not
I was
nothing.
like, I can make them. I have like different ones for I can cause it to become inoperable, or just like not consider me hostile. So that would be
Okay.
helpful.
That sounds nice.
And
Uh,
would be,
And then
yeah.
short circuit does lots of damage to
Drones, mechs,
so-
and robots. Yeah.
John, can you ping the 101? Is that the southernmost portion of the yellow line?
Sure. So the 101 starts again the half that you don't give a shit about, and then if
Right.
you look at it,
When they get back on, I'm asking where exactly they expect to lose the.
the 101
Convoy.
is here. Yeah. So let me go ahead and I'm gonna.
Okay, so either at the end of the green line or that corner of the yellow.
I think I've got it here. I'm gonna move it to the GM layer so you can see the road. So you see this clusterfuck of on ramps.
Yeah.
So they're going to basically be coming up this way.
Called it intersection.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, did you take that out of like a snippet of Miami?
No,
We have those here.
that's just Night City, baby. So when they kind of hit here, they're going to take the left exit, and then it's going to swoop them around down onto the 101 again. And you can see the 101 kind of goes up into the city through Santo Domingo, and then reconnects kind of out this way and up and out of the city. It starts to become kind of confusing where the 101 is because it's a highway, but in the city it kind of diverts and goes in different directions, as I'm sure.
It'd be nice to get them farther away from the road, and just farther away from the track.
Want to go ahead and put your line back up? Bear with me here. Oh, oops, put it on the wrong layer.
The tunnel is appealing in that they're not going to get additional backup. They're going to have that full security detail.
Well, keep in mind we're on Monday, right? And the hit's
Sure.
not happening until Sunday, right? Or was it Saturday? What did I say?
You tell me.
I'm telling you. Hold on.
I don't have a. I guess I can open my calendar to 27.
Do we have anybody that's good with explosives?
I'm okay.
I'm good.
I figured the psycho over there was.
Wait,
Pretty
whoa. He's not a psycho.
Not a psycho.
October.
He's differently abled.
Just because I understand the truth of the world and you don't doesn't
And
make
how to
you
blow it
any
up.
better.
More synth coke.
So
Oh boy.
today is Sunday, the 24th. That's when you meet up, and so the hit is actually happening on the 30th. So that's All Hallows Eve, and on the 30th it'll be a Saturday. So keep in mind, there's time between now and then, right?
Sure.
You understand that the
So we
route.
could do some prep work.
Well, make sure you understand the wording I'm using here. When I showed you the map of the top portion, the direction that they were heading, the up above, right? I specifically said, depending on construction, traffic, gang-related activity happening in that area. These are things that I said kind of like, well, you kind of assume it's just like city-based. But these are activities you can sway or change, okay?
Yeah.
The route splitting off and going into the tunnel will also probably be determinant on what's happening in Haywood, what's happening in the north portion of Pacifica, the north portion and the tunnel of Dogtown. You said blow up the tunnel and trap them inside was a thought. But what if you blow up the tunnel before then? Then they can't go that way. So then they have to go the other route. Or say, like, on the Santo Domingo side, say there's very heavy construction due to a massive explosion or the like.
Like we could cause something to stop them from being able to go here. So like
Exactly.
would force
Exactly.
them into the tunnel.
You
Or
can change the route. If you block both routes,
I want to hear it.
go ahead.
What's it, Tony?
I was gonna say, like, we could start like in that gang area. Like, we could actually try to bring in like a gang war while they were running through, and then I mean,
Start a
think
gang war
about
on Friday.
what? Well, I mean, like, think about
Job on Saturday. Start a gang war on Friday.
it. Hey, man, gang people are mean.
Best foot forward. Hey,
They can't. Gang people can be mean. That's 100%.
We can make like
Gonzo's
we
right
could even
there.
just like
Yeah,
false report like cyber psycho sightings and like just
Well,
cause a bunch of mass hysteria in that area that could
I
lead
would
to that.
highly not suggest drawing in max tac. That's probably not.
I mean, not where we're going, obviously, but to
Another
deter
bet would
them
not
from
be to
going that
snap
way.
trauma cards. Don't do anything that causes people who will kill everything on sight without concern or care. That's probably not the
Maybe-
best.
maybe-
Well, they can do
it's
that somewhere
something-
where we're not getting this conflict.
Something
okay?
innocuous like Brent's cool Cobra band putting on an impromptu show in the middle of the highway there. That'd be fun.
Could cause distractions with his charismatic impact. That's 100% true.
But what are the
Um,
other tools that we have to deal with this caravan? That's the biggest question. We can obviously think of like 50 different ways to navigate them in a place we want them. But what do we have in our disposal to deal with them when we have them there? That is what I am most interested in.
Okay, well,
Right. So we can obviously hack the mechs. Right?
I could
Drones.
tell them.
Drones. They don't have mechs.
Drones.
Mechs are different.
Did we keep that robot from the
God.
ship? Did we keep that mech I hacked in the
No,
ship?
that thing's sick. That thing's gone.
Yeah.
We don't give a shit about robots. We're boat people.
We are boat people. And
Uh,
robots sing.
I think I
can't swim.
actually think I gave it to the TV people
Yeah.
to take with them.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah,
think they did
I-
take it. They
I
might
did,
have taken it.
I reprogrammed it to help them.
Get the wide angle shots.
Right.
Um,
This guy over here is really, really good with explosives. But what explosives do we have? Do we need to acquire some RPGs?
what are
What are RPGs?
what do you expect to blow up?
Just kidding.
And out of
Maybe
care,
no.
are you asking demolitions or are you asking
Demolitions,
just
yeah.
explode a car?
Or blowing up.
RPGs wouldn't be demo. It would be heavy weapons.
I think demolition
weapons.
could be. It depends on what you're doing with it. Like if you're trying to collapse a bridge or something, maybe
Demos plant
RPGs
the bomb.
into demolitions, maybe.
Demos plant
I mean,
the
we don't-
bomb. Heavy weapons.
Okay.
rocket launch.
I don't think we need to but we need something to deal with these bikes, and we need something to deal with these I don't know. I'm more worried about the Sokka ninjas than I am anything else.
I got a big truck with a ram on it. And I like fighting. Otherwise, I got a helicopter if you'd rather be tailing, but I like fighting.
We'll probably need all hands on deck with fighting, he says with a smirk. Catching your pirate jig. All hands on deck.
Never gonna get to fly the gyro.
Well, remember,
I'll fly it in the downtime missions.
I want to make sure you understand too. The gyro is not a bad thing. The gyro flies, and it has a second seat, and you've seen it in a situation where a sniper was in that seat shooting down on
No, I
targets.
didn't. You guys were telling me about it.
Oh yeah. That's right.
I
You got
didn't know the
gyro
guy it
secondhand.
belonged to.
That's right.
I just got it.
That's right.
Okay. I mean, yeah.
But
We
that
can
would
put
put
this-
two people out of. That would make two people into one very mobile person that can shoot things, as opposed to.
Oh, okay. Let me lay this on you already, John. How high are the ceilings inside of this tunnel? And how high of a DV do I need to beat to fly my
gosh.
damn gyro in
I'll
there?
have to go in and check, but I'm sure it is at least 30 feet.
Okay,
So it's
But is it
doable.
wide
that's
enough?
doable.
Oh, it's wide. It's 3-lane, I think, or 2-lane.
Okay, gotcha.
It's gotta
I
be
was
at least
thinking if it's
two.
like, like tunnel, I'm
Oh,
thinking
yeah.
like, cylindrical. I was thinking like it might.
No. It's like a highway tunnel.
I'll slalom
Gotcha,
through the
okay.
supports.
You and the murder hobo.
Yeah.
That'd be the guy.
It depends on what we're trying to do. Are we trying to
We're spitballing.
play wasp and sting the car, or
Funny
We could
story.
cut them off
Play
from
mind
one another,
games and
right?
hack the
Like,
car.
like you said earlier, like, split them.
Yeah.
Would be great.
Funny story.
Um,
Me and Chody during character creation were talking about vehicles, and the origin he picks, it says road bike, ground car, or gyrocopter. He's like, "What's a gyrocopter? What does that look like?" I showed him a picture. He's like, "Nah, it's too fancy." And now you guys are trying to shove him in one.
I got a hatch.
Hell yeah!
I can drop you like a man bomb.
I'm
Those
fine with
googly
being
eyes.
in the fancy things. I just can't own them.
No, that's fine. I respect you. I own it because I stole it.
Fair enough.
You're welcome.
And I've got a secret hatch to hide people in.
So for these last 30 minutes, as we wind down, I want to make sure that we're discussing the matters that we've discussed so far in character and kind of cementing some ideas and thoughts. And I want to make sure that you're interacting with what has been projected by you kind of in character. I know we've mixed in character, but just for these last 30 minutes, kind of stick in character with the thoughts.
Yeah, this whole time, as everybody's been brainstorming, Hungry's just been moving about the room, smoking a cigar, pacing every once in a while. Obviously listening to the conversation, but letting you guys, the experts that he brought on board, plan out and decide what they're gonna do. On Gonzo's mentioning of like what explosives and what we have at our disposal, he would speak up and say,
The entirety of Night City is at your disposal. Whatever you need, resource-wise, I got you covered. I just need you guys to come up with a plan, and I'll get the materials. You need a fucking rocket launcher, you got it. You need
what is it now? C6?
Yeah,
or
C6,
something?
C6.
D6, good job.
C6, yeah. It's all there. It's all out there.
I think we need to split the caravan. I don't think
D6
we
would
do
do
that.
it.
Anyway. What
That's
about when they
definitely my
come out of the Ara or the Pacifica tunnel here? We hit them in the last stretch. Where does the tunnel exit? Here?
No, it's up
The
a bit.
underground tunnel?
It's up this way. There's a facility on top that does water resource and also kind of.
There's two tunnels, right?
There's two
Yeah, there's
tunnels.
this. Yeah, there's this one here.
For ease of understanding, you have the Pacifica Tunnel, which will be the Bay Tunnel, and then
Right.
you have the Dogtown Tunnel, which will be the underground tunnel.
Where's the Dogtown
Wait, yeah,
tunnel?
where is
Not
that
up
start and
here.
end?
Did it
I'm
snap?
not seeing it.
Oh,
You're not pinging.
I'm on the wrong layer. Sorry, thank you.
You're fine.
Bam.
There.
So let me
Looks
show
like
you
where it
that
comes
image
out.
again, so you have the exact details of
Yeah, is that where it starts or ends?
Pacifica under Dogtown. See on the left side of this image, it kind of comes down, and then once it kind of hits, there's a point where you can see like the ground, the kind of shadow of like the mountain, right? There's like
Okay,
a
yes.
red block that the green line hits. That's the tunnel entrance. Then it goes through that blue line, and then when it comes out, it's like not that far. It's not a massive tunnel, right? It's gonna be right, kind of there-ish, and
Look like there.
yeah, correct. So basically, like it's like here to here, and I'll mark those with red notes if you want.
Please, thank you.
Got it.
Yeah, it looks like that's the red thing in the image where it goes in, right?
It's over here. Oh, whoops. Yeah, I'll just do the red. I'll do the tunnel there. That's the tunnel.
Oh.
Okay, so using the gyrocopter actually probably wouldn't be a bad idea for our getaway. Because, I mean, how are they going to chase you if you fly off?
It only
I mean,
takes
if you
one.
want to get away in a gyro.
I'm double checking my work here.
If a gyrocopter is what I'm thinking it is.
I can rescue one of you.
Well, I mean, is you get away with
Oh,
the
yeah, I'll take
main
the...
important part, and then we get away on land somehow. And with that, we can draw their attention away that way. That way, the guy that gets it is gone, and then we just worry about getting away from him. Or we can all try to get away on land, and then risk getting caught with something else.
do.
So I'd
This is-
imagine that they would have Saka bikes.
Focus up on character, though.
That's
The
what I'm
latest
saying.
we make
Yeah.
this hit is likely 11 in the morning. Traffic won't be miserable, but it will exist in that area. If we can guarantee they take the eastern route through both tunnels, would you rather them go downtown? Would you rather us meet them in downtown?
I think the further they get out of the city, the better. I got a couple safe houses we could definitely shore up in.
How good with explosives are you, Carl? On a scale of 1 to 6.
About a 12.
What?
Hell yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got 6 in demo.
Okay.
That is 12 points.
Yeah,
Bet
it's not
12.
a 12. The math checks out.
Okay.
So if we can time it right, we can split their caravan in half and then ambush them. We don't need to take them all out.
No. Once we have what we need, we cover our escape.
What do you
I
think,
don't
Maria?
see a reason to stick around. Maria?
You said Maria?
Yeah.
Oh, you brought the gangers
He would.
in?
Yeah.
Uh,
At least Maria.
Okay.
The other three
It's a
are
free
probably
Coke and hamburger
downstairs.
party.
Yeah, I guess she's been kind of hanging out.
It's not
at the
a-
fucking
there's
free
not a
Coke
plus
and
one.
hamburgers. She's been hanging out there. That's why she hasn't chat shit. She go, whatever. She doesn't have much of a say. I'll be honest. The booster gangers don't really have high stats, bro.
I know.
It's mostly just I shoot shit.
I'm trying to roleplay,
But
man.
he's got family, John.
Yeah. I don't have anything to interject.
You're all right.
And I try to get the answers from the GM though. I do appreciate your efforts. Hungry's like,
With
what
the
about you,
plan
Chino? What about you, Chino? You know what's going on, huh? You want to tell me how to do this? Because you're being played by the GM.
I like the
everything.
plan as it's. I like the plan as it's hashing out.
I do too. But again, it sounds like the tunnel operation is what you're kind of focusing on. One of the tunnels
Yeah.
is kind of where you're keep kind
Riff.
of pinging to.
Because I can't think of
Oh
a
hell
better
yeah,
way to
Brent.
split them.
Fucking
Yeah.
jump
Do you
in.
think you would be able to cause some kind of mishap and force traffic down the Bay Tunnel?
Pretty sure I could try, yeah.
I'll take that. So
I'm gonna need
We're
better
up.
than try.
I'd like to see better than try, but I'll take try for now. We've got a few days.
Well, a quick note to that too. I just want to make sure, Riff, this would probably be something that you'd think about. The diversion's going to happen on the north side of Haywood. So if you can get some gang assistance, then hell yeah, you could.
Oh yeah. Yeah, if I can get some help, like with the people that are normally in the area, I can definitely get you.
Based on the area, it'd most likely be like some Valentinos, mostly Joe Boys would probably be the ones on the scene.
Yeah, we can make that happen.
What's Dan's character's name? I'm sorry, but
Gonzo.
Gonzo. I wanted to say Reggie. You're sure about the tunnel? Where about? How far in do you see this happening? As soon as they're in? Just before they're out?
Just as soon as we see the caravan, the part of the motorcade that is carrying the cargo, we can spot it before it goes in to figure out where it's at in the motorcade. And I don't see it shifting its status in the motorcade, right?
No,
So
I
if
imagine it would stay
halfway
centered.
through,
Yeah.
then we blow it once it's out. Crumble the tunnel on top of them. And then we hit them from the sides.
Chairman, don't you think that
Or-
risks your bounty?
It's a good idea, but we gotta ensure that the package is unharmed.
As soon as the package leaves the tunnel is when we detonate.
How do we keep the package from just leaving when we're attacking from the sides if we're not preventing them?
Maybe some Valentino cars are just parked there.
Or Guinea could have his ram truck.
Because we don't have a way to stop it other than
That's where we gotta figure out. Am I Ram truck or am I gyrocopter?
I want to connect with something real quick. So the red strip I put down on the map here, that's basically
That's
the
roadblock.
area. Well, that's the area you're going to need to have your distraction happen, so that they will divert, and it needs to happen prior to them being there, so that they will divert.
Build up an actual roadblock.
And the reason why I put it in that area specifically is because it's Haywood. That's the only place where you're really going to have the Valentino assistance. The second it crosses the water, it's going into Pacifica territory, and it's fucking voodoo boys all day. You're not going to be able to do shit. Once they're on the diversionary path, from what I'm hearing you say, Dan, you're saying that once they're through the tunnel, so once they're here, that's when you bomb out the tunnel. And you're not bombing
Other tunnel.
Oh, you're going to Dogtown. Oh, okay.
I want to split the motorcade. I want less that we have to fight.
Sorry. My brain space thought you were going to try and block the tunnel on the south entrance in the Pacifica tunnel. That way you would have operational control here with like a narrow means for them to escape.
We have two options. We can try and limit how many people we need to fight, or we can take away their path of exit.
Okay.
Those are the options.
Yeah, the only reason I was confused is because I thought you were trying to limit their chance of escape, and you were saying once they're through the tunnel. And the reason why I got confused is because that doesn't sound like what would be the case on the opposite side of the Dogtown tunnel. Because if they're on the opposite side of the Dogtown tunnel, they can just drive into the flats, and they can fucking
that's mostly
find their way home. But if they're on this peninsula,
but if it's that tunnel, that
they're
changes
fucked. So I apologize. That was just me misreading. But if we're going with the Dogtown tunnel, then Dogtown tunnel it is.
My whole idea is just utilizing explosives with the tunnel. If we want to use it to give them no path of exit,
backwards,
I think it's a great idea. But it's also we're gonna hit them with the full brunt of their force.
Yeah.
If we could
I
come
want
up
to.
with
I want to go
another idea.
lateral.
Like,
Yeah, I
you're-
want to go lateral thinking on your explosives. We don't have to blow up a tunnel. We could just blow up a portion of a motorcade. Maybe just set some charges where we expect them to be driving.
Well, is there anything you can throw at a motorcade besides explosives?
A fucking
Especially if
ram
it's
truck,
especially if it's
missiles.
waterfront.
A boat.
Yeah. Now I got 3 options of what I'm driving.
So again, the peninsula here doesn't seem like a bad strike point, based on what you've said. Because you could move the Madrucker fleet there and just fucking go
You could also-
broadside on their ass.
Yeah, and you could collapse the tunnel like you said to cut off like
Just
half
the
of their-
entrance.
like after just after they come through. That would work here so that they couldn't
Really
just
want to
drive
blow
off.
up this tunnel. Okay.
So are you thinking maybe we have detonation at both tunnels?
Or just like
Oh,
No, man.
no, just here.
I was leaning away from blowing up a tunnel at all, but it's
I
it's not my
So
show.
we have one for all tunnels get exploded. We have one for just the tunnel we're operating on. And we have one for maybe no blow up tunnels. We'll just shoot them.
Mankind wasn't meant to travel beneath the Earth's crust.
Well, it's like they so like on this tunnel, if we like don't blow it up, we have to fight all of them.
Yes.
We have to find like blowing up the tunnel or finding a way to cut off half of them. The only thing I could think of is blowing it up or somehow managing to split them. But I don't know how we would do that.
The benefits
What if
of
we hit
this-
them at both tunnels? We split them at one,
Oh,
and
they're
then
not gonna be
stop them from the other.
They're not going to be that
I
far
don't
apart. And if they do get that situation, they have a lot of exit points through Pacifica. So,
That's true.
a note.
Yeah, we don't want to scramble them. We just want to take them out.
The
Yeah, so
second the
like you
game
said, as soon as they go through there, like collapse the tunnel on the second half of the group, so it's just a few of them, and then we can have support from the water or
At least their numbers
Yeah.
will be limited in a sense. Yeah, but again, the support from the water is definitely selling. It's a selling point. But again, I understand the idea of the tunnel on the Dogtown side. But if you do that, you wouldn't want them to be able to exit out of the south side of the Dogtown exit, because like I was saying, they're just going to drive into the Biotechnica Flats. And once they're in there, not only will they be able to lose you in the maze of the fucking thing, but they'll also have Biotechnica security forces seeing you as a problem and not Arasaka as a problem and fucking with you. Because
so we want
Corpo's
them between here and here.
not bad choice. Not a bad choice. But not the only choice.
How do we stop them from running?
Well, again, the Dogtown
Guns.
the Dogtown tunnel could work, but you don't want them to get out of the tunnel. You want them to be in the tunnel. You want to fight them in the tunnel. For you
Well, I'm
to-
talking about if we
Well-
split them here.
I'm just making
So,
sure
like-
you understand. If you do Dogtown them, you want control of the tunnel, so you'll need to do some Barcast connection. You'll need to get the connect on the tunnel so you can enter it and exit it from not
Yeah.
the actual tunnel entrances and exits.
Right.
Or this tunnel, and then prevent them from getting to the other tunnel.
Correct.
Like water support and potentially we cut off the tunnel and maybe have something that we can stop the first car with that isn't the thing, and that could prevent them from going if the first car is not our target, because we don't
I
want
mean,
to
if
blow up
we
our
got-
target obviously, but
If we got water support, it'd probably be best if we used it, right?
Madruckers are on board.
I don't like the idea of cutting Barghast in.
I don't
He's a soccer dog. Can't be trusted. He'd tip him off and take the eddies.
so we would need to do it before they got to Dogtown.
Okay. So I got 1, 2. Sounds like Joseph, you're pretty the Joes, if you will. Sounds like the two of you are pretty focused on if we're doing it before Dogtown, right? That's fair to
I'm
say.
on the same wavelength that don't want to fuck with Dogtown.
Yeah. They are
And
assholes.
if we do it sooner, we can also have contingency plans to get them again if we miss them the first time.
Be able to chase.
Now, one thing we have not discussed that keeps kind of getting missed is you guys are very focused on the interaction of acquiring. And that's great. It's a good start point. But there's also the problem of leaving with what you have. So you also need to think about that too. Obviously, immediate scene of the crime, immediate scene of the heist, it's going to be kind of a situation like when you're bolting off, you're probably going to get tails. You're probably going to have people noticing that shit. Because they're going to be able to see the crime, and they're also going to be see your ass leaving it. So there will be people seeing you. In that situation,
It's gonna be bright and early, like
yep,
11 a.m.
yeah, noon at the highest, right? So if you do hit them on that fucking peninsula there, not a lot of people out there. Not a lot of people at all. The only people on the other side are going to be Joe boys, and they're not going to talk shit. You know, some of you are Valentinos, some of you are associated, so it's fine. The second it
Do I
gets
know of
into
any?
Pacifica, though,
Do I-
we're fucking boned.
Do I know of any safe houses?
In
Near
Pacifica? Hell no.
Didn't think so.
Yeah, Pacifica's Voodoo Boy territory.
Kind of a venue is Six Shots.
Mm.
Small dive or someplace that could hold a show.
Yeah. And-
What if we do?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, got you.
What if we did like a surprise concert type of deal the day before, and we promised one after at Six Shots for Riff and his band, like flooding traffic and foot traffic in this area. That would, without being violent or getting too crazy, that would force them into the tunnel.
So I would say that's good. And yeah, Six Shots is close enough to that route that it's going to cause some fuckery. So that's not a bad choice. I would say too, if you want to pull in some contacts hungry to like make that even more hype, like yeah, this kid. I'm not gonna try and do the voice. I'm not as good, but you could be like, this kid's new, this kid's young, and you could call like the Padre and be like, hey, can you just like fucking. I mean, he's a young kid. He's like we're trying to make a name for him. Bring as many
Yeah.
people as you can, kind of situation. It's a favor to me. I'll owe you a favor, kind of deal.
Absolutely, and I know I've seen him play at the Seventh Hell.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of the Valentinos fuck with their band's energy. Like, it would be very easy to spread word of mouth and get a lot of people on board with showing up for your show.
I'm trying
Doesn't
to
all
remember
this
the name
mean
of
that we
song.
don't have a rocker boy for our heist? If he's
Well-
doing all of this at the same time.
We promised the show the second day, but he doesn't actually have to go
Show up.
through with it.
Okay.
Oh right, sorry. The name of the song that they kind of like hype, the one that Blaze remembered and kind of was like Impure Cobra. I listened to this song. Is "I'm in Love with a Slut" by Impure Cobra. Yeah, they definitely fuck with the Valentino energy.
Good wholesome tunes.
It's all about girls. It's all about loving girls and like being crushed by girls, heartache, heartbreak.
It's this generation's I Want to Hold Your Hand.
Yeah, it's this generation's I Want to Hold Your Hand. I'm in love with a slut. But anywho, that said, that's a solid plan, Joe. I dig it. So Six Shots have Riff do a show on Friday. Say we're coming to do it again on Saturday. Say it's going to be like an afternoon show. People are going to show up hella early. And hey, if you do the heist quick enough, hell, fucking Rick could probably put on the show anyway, right?
Hell yeah.
Fucking with the data shard in hand, just fucking.
Using it as a pick.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Oh my god.
boy.
that'd be metal
Oh,
as
that'll
shit.
damage it.
Yeah,
Don't do that.
Don't damage it.
We're just having a laugh.
Don't fuck with the shard. Okay, so it sounds like the plan of deferring where they're going, solid, locked in. We're gonna do that, and then we want this direction into the tunnel. We do not want to strike in the tunnel. We want to strike after the tunnel. So we're looking at, and I'm gonna go ahead and move the green line off the board so you can see what I'm talking about here.
As far as sea support, what are they asking of the Nadreckers? What am I able to provide?
So that's a great
Because
question.
I can't really bring in more family members, or can I?
That's a great question that'll have to be worked out in roleplay. That's not a question that's answered by me as the GM. You'll have to go to Robbie, and you'll actually have to have that discussion. And again, depending on how much hunger you confront, depends on how much
Well,
family.
that's what the question was for you. Is this a matter of
Not a
do
question.
we
Not a question
pay
for
for
me
this?
then. Question for Hungry. How much is he willing to help, or how much is he willing to put forward towards Nadrucker's assistance? What's the?
I guess we need to figure out what we need support-wise from them before you figure that out, right?
right?
So if you look at this tunnelway, seeing it there, just so we understand what we're looking at. This is a pretty heavy support structure. On top of the support structure at the top there is a facility. The facility is basically the end point of the underground facility I described in the middle of the tunnel that helps filtrate the air and make sure that it doesn't just fill out with exhaust, like, chew exhaust, and helps kind of like scrub and clean. And it's where like the support people are located. So there are EMTs on site. They're not like trauma or anything. They're just kind of government's people who, like, if there's an accident down in there, they'll get them out and set them up for trauma to pick them up, because obviously an AV can't land inside the tunnel. So yeah, that's what you're looking
You're
at.
a lousy pilot.
Yeah, I mean, fair. But that's what you're looking at on the opposite side, okay? This thoroughfare, this street, pretty bland, not much to it. It just continues on southbound and down without any issue before it hits Pacifica proper. And then it just drives right into the city there. The road to the south this is not a tunnel or anything. That is literally just a dead end. The highway just stops. The road just stopped because they stopped building Pacifica. They stopped building the space, right? And then the road continues on towards the part of the route which would lead underneath Dogtown. So yeah, like you were saying, this window is not bad. Good choice. Solid stuff. And if you are wanting to blow out the tunnel and block it, it would be very difficult for you to just go plant demolitions there without finding an inn with that Night City traffic authority and kind of getting into that facility and messing around with them. Make sense? Unless you're blowing it up from a distance, like you just shoot a rocket launcher at that shit and knock it out, you might be able to pull it off.
That'd be less precise, though.
Yeah, demolitions is the way to guarantee.
It'd be a hell of a shot.
It'd be a hell of a shot. I think Carl could make it, but demolitions would be more precise. It would be like, this is what you want and need, done.
Like, we would just need to blow out the top of the tunnel. Right?
Yeah, but
we'd have to get it up there without getting noticed.
Right.
Yeah, you can't just go over there and start planting bombs.
No. I'm just saying it's not. We're not trying to blow
maybe
the whole tunnel
maybe
out.
I could hack their
I'm fixing
stuff
a
so they don't
different.
notice us doing it, but
Right.
that's a lot of maybe.
A homeless guy wandering around a tunnel, setting up a tent every once in a
Unheard
while.
of.
I mean, it's
don't
Night
know.
City. It could work. Yeah,
He's
there
not
would,
homeless if he has a tent,
Swedish.
okay?
there would definitely be some roles involved for sure. But yeah, I mean, if you could just get a part or get a contact in the Night
We're
City.
assuming Carl doesn't have bombs planted in that tunnel right this minute.
He has to go and hook them from the other buildings he has them in though first.
Police stations.
So it's gonna be a minute.
I do have a
Oh,
turret.
I only have 40
we can move and
bombs.
set up.
So, I remember from last time whenever, we did stuff with the networkers, they had that thing where they targeted the phones and just kind of laywayed that building.
Well, so yeah, they were able to isolate specific phone lines, and whoever had that agent would show up on the targeting system of the gunner, so that they were seen as a friendly, and so he wouldn't shoot
gotcha.
them.
Gotcha, okay.
But we also that was super delayed in the thing coming through.
Yeah.
So we need something.
And they really wanted to do that.
Also, they're not
Yeah,
going to be able to
gotcha.
spectrum and analyze the fact that the truck is the truck. So
Yeah.
they're going to shoot everything, and if they shoot everything, they might shoot the truck. And a 20mm autocannon shooting the truck is probably not great for the data
Yeah,
shares.
gotcha.
But if they shot in front of the truck
To blow off the road a bit. Yeah.
to deter them from keeping on going after we collapse the tunnel, and that cuts them off, and then we just have to take care of who's left.
You're definitely going to blow up a shitload of concrete with those autocannons. That's a guarantee. And if there's a fucking motorbike on the road as well, you could probably shoot through an Arisaka Ninja.
Exactly.
What's our
That's a little
point
bit.
of view
That
for us,
targeting might
though?
be a little rough, though.
How do we get out if we blow out the roads? Do we go by boat, jet ski?
You got a
Yeah.
boat. already because the autocannons are there.
Yeah.
Right.
They'd have to be with the boat.
They would have attracted a lot of attention.
Yeah, so they're gonna have to if they start shooting at the road, they're not gonna be able to stick around and hang out for
Yeah.
a long time. It's
You
literally
got
gonna
them
be
for like
But we
60
could have
second
the-
stops.
You could have
30 probably is closer to the number.
the gyrocopter close by for a getaway with the stuff, and then find an exit
shards.
for the rest of the people.
And then everybody just on their own to fucking run. Okay. So the shards you want to
Maybe not
have
that much on their own, but we have a plan to get away.
We'll put a buddy
separately.
system together.
You
Stash some cars. Stash
as
some.
as the net runner of the group. Don't leave me behind.
Okay. So I just want to confirm this is definitely this region is probably let's just say
Yeah.
for sure because I got 3 minutes left with you. This is confirmed where we want to hit, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Joe, you're the final call, so you're the only one I really care about. You've heard all of the words from your experts. Your thoughts?
Think it's a solid plan.
Not bad at all. Okay, so I got some work for me between now and next session. I'm going to go ahead and map this bad boy out, full detail, 3D as best I can from the Cyberpunk 2077 video game, so you know exactly every inch in detail. So just, I want to make sure I know the questions that you're going to ask prior to you asking them. We want height. We want
Number of lanes.
Number of lanes. Yeah.
What kind of structural supports we have in between the lanes.
Gotcha. For the end point of the tunnel, for sure.
Um,
The facility. We want some information about what's going on up there on top.
yeah. What kind of personnel they'll have.
Okay.
If they would be tied to probably Night Corp or
Yeah. It's most likely
NCPD. Okay.
What's the terrain like? Would we need to get like some
Sandy
like off
beaches.
sandy beaches? So like maybe if we were to roll up there and like a dune buggy or some shit.
It's going to be very hard to find.
Go harass the Voodoo Boys.
If you had Badlands contacts, you could get one. But again, your nomad is not a Badlander. He is a
Right.
No-lander.
A boat boy.
I know.
If we blow out the road, we need to have some kind of way to get out off the road.
Perfect.
Right.
So I know what I'm going to be scooping out during the next week. If there are any questions that you think of during the week, please posit them in the thread. And if you have any interactions you want to engage in with each other, feel free to do so. What I'm going to say is that today was the 24th. You were coking out, eating the burgers, hanging out, talking, laying it all out on the table, maps, hollows, doing your designs. Hungry was taking notes, very careful and considerate, has the plan pretty much kind of in its baseline rough draft understood. So what the next part is, and this will be the next day, is the recon. So you'll actually be acquiring the photos and images and all the like that I'll be acquiring, due in part to roleplay we will do during next session. Make sense? All right, perfect. Wonderful first session.
Looks like someone's addicted to coke with me.
Looks like everybody gets a do coke. Oh yeah, actually, let's go ahead and get those out of the way.
I
did
gambled
coke?
I gambled it.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Which means he gets a reroll once per session with luck.
Get loaded.
Perfect. And your luck
Once
will
per session?
Yeah.
I
well,
thought it was I burn.
Yeah, it's luck you can burn. Right. So, but anyways, your luck refreshes is what I was trying to say without saying it correctly. All right. Thanks for watching those that did. And next session we will deal with the specific routes, understanding it, and I'll also get information regarding 6 shots in the region around the path between Green Divide and the end of Haywood. All right. Thanks for watching. See you then. See you next time.
Thanks, guys.